Yo guys, my name is Legend and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today another awesome video for you guys, but before we get into it I would like to say I am still in the middle of exams, so sorry if it's a little bit short or sorry if the editing is not as good as usually, but I really don't have a lot of time. The weather has been pretty nice again here in Belgium, but you guys cannot see that because the footage is actually from my road trip I did a few months ago. But let's get right in the topic of today. A lot of people and a lot of my friends have been asking, when are you going to do your goddamn A2 license? Because pretty much all of my friends now are doing their A2 license, or they already have it and they're moving on to a bigger bike. So they have been asking, when will I do the same? Also, a lot of followers and subscribers have been asking me what bike I'm going to get next. So that's why I'm making this video. So first of all, when will I do my A2 license? Well, to be honest, I don't know yet. I'm not bored of my R125 yet. And I don't really need more power necessarily right now. Or anything like that. So I'll probably do my license somewhere next year. Somewhere in 2019, probably. And then when will I be buying my bike? Well, I don't know yet. Once I get bored of my R125, I will move on to something bigger, but that's not the case right now, because I still love it. It's still an awesome bike. Now, as to what bike I would like to buy, well, I've made a list. I've been doing some research, just looking around, because I like to research a lot of stuff before I buy something. And well, I have a big list. Now, there aren't a lot of A2 motorcycles that I really like. For some reason there isn't one that stands out compared to others. Kind of like I had with the Yamaha R125, it kind of stood out from the other 125s in my opinion. But with A2 bikes I don't really have the same feeling. Like the MT03 doesn't really appeal to me, the MT07 doesn't really appeal to me, you know, so I'm not sure what to get. So I did do some research, I made a list. Now I decided to go with mostly older bikes, old timers, or just older bikes in general. And there are like a few newer bikes on the list. So I'm going to show a few of them right here to you guys. Now, there are all kinds of bikes in this list, so this will be pretty interesting. Now, first things first, most of the bikes are old timers, so they're sometimes a little bit harder to find. So in case I do not find any of the bikes I would really love, my backup plan is the new 2019 Yamaha R3, because I did some research into it and it looks like an awesome bike. So that's my backup plan. It's not my first choice, but if I do not find anything else, then that will probably be the bike I end up getting. I mean, there are all kinds of bikes on this. I have like 20 bikes on it. I'm just going to go over a few. But the Yamaha SR500 is one of them. It's an older bike. There's also an SR400 model, which I believe they still make today. But the SR500 is an older model. It's from around the 1980s. It's a 4-stroke single cylinder 500 cc's with around 32 horsepower. It's a really old school bike. It looks awesome in my opinion. I really like the look of these kinds of bikes, and I think you can make something pretty cool out of it. Not the fastest bike around, has a nice amount of torque though, and just all around looks awesome. Something a little bit different on the list that I think a lot of you guys would enjoy is the Yamaha WR250. It's more a like dual sport supermoto kind of bike. Not something I would usually get. It's not really my style. But if I end up getting it, I would modify it pretty heavily and make something awesome out of it, because I already have an idea for that kind of bike to make something cool out of it. Because yeah, as I said, it's not something I would usually get. Not really my style, but it's on the list. It's an option. These are a little bit easier to find than some of the older bikes on here, so, and they're not too expensive. Also not the fastest bike, but according to some people that I know that have this bike, it's a lot of fun. Now the next bike might surprise a few people because, to be honest, it's a pretty ugly bike in my opinion, which is weird because I want to buy it, but it is the Yamaha SZR660. Yeah, it's not the most like pretty bike out there, but it is pretty quick. It has a nice amount of torque. It's a single cylinder 660cc motorcycle. And also, the reason I'm buying it is because I have an idea for a bike like that, to modify it. Because I wouldn't leave it stock, because obviously I think it's ugly, as I just mentioned. I would just want this bike for the power it has, because it has quite some power for an A2 motorcycle. It has 48 horsepower, which is the maximum you're allowed to get on that license. So that's the reason I would get it. Now obviously on this list are some old Japanese 4-strokes like the FZR or the FZR, whatever you want to call it, or the ZX250 Zeal. Bikes like that are really awesome. Low displacement, 4 cylinders, an awesome sound. If I had to pick one bike that I wanted most out of this whole list, it would be the FZR, because in my opinion that's just a beautiful bike. Then 2 more bikes on the list are the Yamaha XV 535. It's a cruiser, something completely different. But again, I have a lot of plans. If I end up getting that kind of bike to modify it, it will be pretty awesome, I think. Something completely different to what I'm used to, but it's a beautiful looking bike. And then last but not least, the SRV250, which would probably be my second choice behind the FZR, because in my opinion it's also a really beautiful bike. Old school and just hands down beautiful. Now these are not all of the bikes on the list. As I said, I have a bunch of bikes on this list. I know this list was all Yamaha bikes, but on the list are also some other brands. But these are the main ones I really would love to have, because they just all look so beautiful. So I hope this could answer some of you guys' questions, because I've been having this question a lot, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. A lot of my friends, a lot of subscribers have been asking, when will you get a new bike? What kind of bike would you love? So short answer is, I don't know yet what bike I want. And my license, I will probably do it somewhere next year, but I'm not ready to get rid of my R125 yet. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. If you know another awesome A2 motorcycle that you want me to check out, then leave it in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.